Thanks for the thumbs up on the sound.
Yeah, so we'll wait just a couple of minutes more as people get signed in. But yeah, all of us are delighted that you're joining us today for this inaugural Questel Services portal user meeting, a bit of a mouthful, and hoping very much that the sun is shining where you are. It is here in France and in the UK and in the Netherlands.
Exactly. Yeah, I think looks good. Shall we start with the housekeeping and the welcome, maybe?
Yeah, let's get going. Thanks,
Let's
Elizabeth.
get going. Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this first hands-on QSP webinar, so Questel Services Portal. We are here today to try a new format, so a little bit of a smaller group, and this means we, in the beginning, while we have the more the presentation part of the webinar, everyone is muted, so we don't have any disruptions in terms of background noise. But then when the main webinar or presentation is over, we will stop the recording and give everyone the possibility to unmute themselves. So you can just then click on the unmute button and ask any questions, start a discussion, everything around the QSP that you want to share. Maybe feedback, comments, suggestions for improvements. We would really appreciate an interactive end of the session and then have really a discussion going. Yeah, I mentioned already for the housekeeping, you're muted for now. If you have any questions, please feel free to post them throughout the webinar already into the Q&A section of this webinar, or for sure hold back and ask your question then in person by unmuting yourself. The recording will be sent to you after the webinar together with some feedback questions. So please share how you liked it and hopefully, yeah, so give your suggestions. So for the next run that we do, we can make improvements. For the next points of this webinar is that I would like to briefly introduce who we are. We are a team of Questel here hosting this webinar today. Myself, I'm Elisabeth Staats. I'm based in Amsterdam. I've joined Questel last year as a subject matter expert for patent services. And your presenters today will be Caroline Chenique, also a subject matter expert on patent services, and our colleague Jessica Mitchell, who is the director for client onboarding. Maybe, ladies, you want to introduce yourselves as well briefly before we move on?
Sure, thanks, Elizabeth. So I'm Caroline, a subject matter expert for patent services, as Elizabeth said. I have a long experience in the IP industry, longer than I'd like to admit, going back to the last century. I started out as a business development manager for a company specialized in translation, foreign filing, and patent search, and climbed up the ranks to global director of sales, and then joined Questel back in 2020. And my role is basically to work with our clients and our key account management team in France, in Benelux, Southern Europe, and the UK to make sure that our patent service offering is aligned with your current needs and also anticipate the future. And more of that later. So delighted you're joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica.
Hi everyone, I'm Jessica. As Elizabeth mentioned, I manage the client onboarding team at Questel. So we're the ones that set you up on our systems and make sure you have access to the services portal. I've been working in the IP services world for about 10 years now, and previously held position as a translation and filing project manager. So I know the services for patents quite well, and look forward to hearing your feedback from this presentation.
Great, thank you. Yeah, after a brief introduction from my side, Jessica will kick off with some tips and tricks of on the QSP and how to use it, and then Caroline will show what is new in the QSP, what you can expect, what's on the roadmap, and then, as mentioned, we'll finish off with the interactive Q&A session. But first, also already something interactive for you. We have prepared a small question for you. So because we are talking about the Questel Services Portal now, and it's a success story since we launched it. So the question to you is, how many users do we have or did we have by the end of 2024 on the QSP? You all should see now a pop-up window with 4 answer options, 1,500, 2,500, 3,500 or 4,500 users, and please select the one you think is the most appropriate, and then click the submit button. So, and then yeah, we hopefully have some right answers. This is more of a test because there will be some other polls during this webinar as well. So just this is for you to get used to that more interactive participation. Yeah, apologies, there were some sound issues with the, but yeah, no, you hopefully saw all the answer. 4,500 is correct. So thanks for participating, and we move on to the next slide. A brief reminder for you. You all know Questel, obviously, because you are users or have tested the QSP already. But just to remind you that Questel is around in the market for a very long time. We were founded in 1978. And in the last years, it was really the intention to build a one-stop shop for all the professionals in IP and provide all the tools and services around the whole life cycle of IP. And we had a mission to achieve this by acquiring the leading companies in that field. And we can say now, 2025, that we are really, that we have achieved these acquisitions, and now we can really even more leverage all that knowledge that's in-house, and you all hopefully can benefit from that and appreciate all the services that we provide. And QSP is a testament of this strategy, that it's really easy for you to do your day-to-day work with as much automation as possible, and for sure to get paired with high quality standards and security standards. So thanks for trusting Questel, and yeah, there's more to come. So we are trying to really integrate everything together. So the services part will and is already connecting with our other tools like the IP management system, and there is for sure other software as well, and all with the mission in mind to be one single partner that you can get in touch with. And yeah, you have your key account managers, your contact partners for service delivery. We are always here and approachable, and not just someone through software. I think that sets Questel apart, and we want to be interactive and responsive, and hopefully today this is a good platform for it. Let's go into the QSP now in more detail. You You have used it, most of you already, and the main features are now already nearly since 5 years. So this year the QSP is turning 5. We have something to celebrate, and the main features since its inauguration are that you can create estimates, place orders either directly or through an estimate, monitor where your orders are and your project, and manage those. So these are the key functionalities, but for sure there are some more details to it, and also some more and new features that have been implemented recently. And now I want to give the word over to Jessica, who will present in practice a bit more on what's new and the tips and tricks around it.
Thank you. I'll share my screen. Okay. You see my screen okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. So as Elizabeth said, I'm going to show some tips and tricks of the services portal. As a reminder, firstly, we want to just go over what you can do in the services portal. So you will always have access to 2 types of project type, filing and translation, or purely translation only. And then within those project type, various filing types are then available to you. We have various options for EP validation, EP grant, or purely 71(3) claims and EP validation, depending on your needs. And a relatively new addition to this list is the design filings, which we'll go into in more detail a bit later on. On the translation only project type, you have relatively the same options available to you, with the addition of other, which you can use for office actions or those kind of non-filing related translation types, which is still within the IP domain. So let's go to create a project. We're in here. And one of the things that I really like of the services portal is the way that you can save a project midway through. So as you are creating a project, and then let's say you want to have a colleague look over it, or you need to rush off to a meeting, whatever it may be, you can save your project where you have left, where you've got to, and then come back to it at a later stage, so you don't lose your work that you've done, and you don't lose time either. So here I'm just going to enter some information, and then down at the bottom we have the button Save. You'll see it on every single page here, Save as well. So if I click Save, it takes me back to my project list, and in the saved category here, we've got several categories. You'll see the project that was just created is now here, and I can come back into it, and it takes me exactly to the page which I clicked save on. So I haven't lost anything, and I can pick up where I left off. Some of our clients like to use this for, as I said, 4i reviews with a colleague or something before they go through to confirm. So it's a good feature for those types of workflow scenarios. Now, as I'm here, the next feature we want to highlight is the jurisdiction template feature. On the left-hand side here, you can see several templates. And what you can do is you can create these templates as you are selecting your jurisdictions. So if you're always filing in the same jurisdictions, or more or less the same jurisdictions, you select your jurisdictions in the first instance, and then you will see up here, Save as New Template will pop up. You give it a name which means something to you, and it will tell you that it will be then available whenever you do a project that's a filing project within this type of filing type. And then when next time you create that project, they will appear on the left-hand side here. Just call it test 18. Okay, and there it is. It's now appeared here. You're not stuck in stone with these either. So let's say you want to switch out and add in another one, you can do that. So it helps speed things up as well. In that respect, you can have them per subject matter, whatever you need. And you can at any time come up to the right-hand corner in account settings and go to jurisdiction templates here and see the full list. And let me just save and I'll go to that. Jurisdiction and see the full list here. You can see all the various project type, filing type combinations, and you can either delete or come in and edit them as you need. So it's a really useful feature, particularly as you can see here, for example, there are lots of jurisdictions that have been selected. I will just add for jurisdiction templates, they are per user. So if you're working in a team, each user will have to create their own template set. If you have lots of templates that you want to create, you can send us a list, and that's something that we can do for you. So of course you can send that over and we'll handle that as needed. Go back into my project. So here we've selected our jurisdictions or use the template on the left hand side. I'm going to go for core countries. Okay. And now the following feature is the reference numbers. So here you can see when you get to this page, the reference numbers have now come with the 2 country letter code attached. This is something that's just standard on our services portal. However, if this doesn't work for you for your docketing system or email template system, whatever you're using on your end, we can amend this so that either the country code gets put in the middle like this, or however you need it. So again, that's something that you would need to advise us on at any point or at a point of onboarding, and we can edit this as well in the back end. This is something that we need to do on the back end system, but it's very possible. So you would just need to tell us give us some example of your reference numbers, and then we'll be able to program it in. So that then comes through correctly on all correspondence, and then you can dock it correctly on your end without too much fuss. Okay. Let me go back to, I'll save this, and then I'm going to go back to create a new project, and translation only project type this time on the PCT again. Oops, lost my, there we go. A nice feature here is, let me just enter some information. Deadline. Okay. Is, again, we're going to go through the same workflow, but at this point, what you can do, so this is translation only. You have 2 options at this point, which is that we can send the translations obviously directly back to you for you to then take on to next steps, or we can work with you and your agents or other parties and deliver the translations directly to them. You can be kept in copy, but then that just will speed the work up your end as well, so that we take that load away from you and deliver directly. So you can click this option here, and you will then have your drop downs with your agent to select and your agent contacts to select. You will again need to tell us who your agents and agent contacts are, again, so that we can enter it into our system so that they appear on the drop down for you. If there's nothing appearing, then you would have to let us know. Otherwise, you won't be able to proceed with the project. The next would be grayed out at this point. So again, this is a good feature which many of our clients do use, and it works very well. We have obviously worked with a lot of agents, so we know who they are and have relationships with them as well. So that's another feature which is very useful. Okay, and back to here, I'll leave this one. So once your project is running through its course, you can see the status here at any point when you log in. You can then, once the project is done, it will then fall into this completed category up the top. And you see it completed or filed status, whichever it is. And you can come into your project and see down the bottom final files. So as files become available, the translations will become available here as well for you to be able to click on and download as a package. So this will become a clickable link. Again, we will normally email everything to you or deliver anything to you as you have requested us to do, whether it's through a docketing system or some kind of SharePoint or share file, or however you want to work. But this again is like another good way for you to be able to come and find your projects, especially if you might be looking after a project for a particular team member who's out of the office or something. So it's a good backup system as well. And now I'm going to move on to estimate. The estimates and estimate list work very similar to the project and project list. You'll find exactly the same types for filing and translation, project types. But one of the things that you can do on an estimate is once you've created the estimate, you can come to the estimate list. And you might not have yet approved it, but you might be thinking, maybe I want to add or remove a jurisdiction or edit it in some way. So you will have the possibility to do that. So you'll have some actions available to you on the right-hand side here. Some of these actions are only available here for me right now because I'm on a demo version, but you will normally, or you should have for sure, this pencil edit estimate feature. And you can come in and edit anything as you need to. So you can edit any jurisdictions as you need to, and then rerun your estimate with updated costs. So another good way of doing it without having to complete the estimate from scratch again. And I will say as well, you can request estimate assistance at any time. So this will send an email to our estimate team, who will be able to get back to you with an update or comparison of costs or anything like that. And I think to finalize, up here in the top right, you will have a help button. So you can at any point just type in some keywords and it will come up with some articles, which you can click on. You can make the articles bigger at any point by clicking this pop-up here. And it will help you maybe navigate the services portal or provide some extra information if you have questions. We are also working on creating a much better and more encompassing services portal training video. So hopefully that will be released soon and will be very useful for everyone. And I think that's it on my end. So I'll hand back now to Elizabeth and Caroline.
Thank you, Jessica.
Yes, thanks, Jess.
It's been really, insightful again, also for more frequent users, I believe. So, and I think this is a good moment to have another poll question, because we are interested to know what feature of the Questel services portal do you appreciate the most? So this is a free text answer possibility. So you can enter your response and then press submit. And then 1 or 2 seconds later, you will have the possibility to add another response if you would like to. So you are not limited to one answer. You can really enter how many you want and what you appreciate and value in a QSP. See, the first answers come in. Just don't be shy. It can be something very obvious or something that's quite special, or you use more infrequently, but where you say that's really that's what I liked when I saw the very first demo, or that's what you use on a daily basis nearly. So far, the estimates are in the lead. Ease of use coming up as well. It's a word cloud where then the most frequently named features will appear larger. So cost estimate and ease of use is about head to head. And again, you can also enter more if you want to. Give it a couple of more seconds for people to put in their responses. And for closing it. Yeah, I think the ease of use has been happy to hear that, and it's indeed a straightforward tool, not too complicated, quick, and yeah, happy that's listed here together with the safe features, templates, the estimates, translations. Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, we strive to keep it easy and simple, but at the same time add new features and improvements to it. And Caroline will now tell us more about news and what's on the horizon.
Yes, indeed. As I said at the outset, our job is to make sure we meet your requirements, but also anticipate new ones. So with Jessica, we'll be showing you some of the more recent additions to the QSP and what we have lined up for the future. As a first step, we'd like to look at the unitary patent filing. So this was quite an important milestone for the IP industry and also for the QSP. We can, of course, provide estimates and filing services for the unitary patent, which has been in force since mid-2023. And I would like to focus particularly on some of the extra features around our unitary patent offer on the QSP. So Jess is going to run an estimate here for a unitary patent. What I'd like to highlight here is that the system will tell you whether your patent has been opted out of the UPC or not. So that's a nice little extra piece of information that you have automatically when you run your UP estimate. Simply by running the number, as you can see here, the fields have been populated to enable us to provide you with a quote. And going on to the next page, we can see we've selected the unitary patent. So if we select just the unitary patent, as you all probably know, you have to select a language. The unitary patent filing route does require a translation, and we would recommend, if the source language is in English, one of the least expensive languages like Spanish. So we're going to select Spanish here, and you can see another field pops up with a drop-down menu with three options: human-assisted machine translation, publication filing, and reference. Now, for the unitary patent, we developed for this new filing route a human-assisted machine translation offer. The unitary patent requirements are that you indeed provide a translation, but this translation does not have legal effect. So to this end, we have provided this option, which is 50% cheaper, less expensive than our usual publication and filing option, which you can see as a second option in this menu. So if you want to go down this route, certainly do consider human-assisted machine translation with the objective of saving some costs. Publication filing is for all other types of filing routes, and it includes, it's a human translation, fully checked, and is filing ready. And then the last option, reference, is more for other types of translation, so IP related, so it could be office actions, it could be prior art, and it is again a human translation, but doesn't go through exactly the same very rigorous checking process, crossing all the T's, dotting all the I's, that are really, really important when it comes to translations for filing. And in terms of cost, reference quality is 25% less expensive than our premium publication filing translations. So just wanted to mention that on the translation options available to you. If you are selecting a UP and a classic validation country like Spain, so if we click on Spain here, you will require a Spanish translation for validation in Spain, which can also be used for the UP filing. So we're providing you with a single translation rather than two translations. And again, it's a good cost-saving measure. The only thing to bear in mind is that the Spanish for the UP filing would be required 1 month after grant, because the UP filing deadline is shorter than for the classic validation. And in this instance, we would automatically select for you the publication quality, because it's important for the validation in Spain that you have a filing ready translation. Let's assume now that we're not going to use the UP route after all. We're just going to do a classic validation. In this case, if we select Spain, for example, we're just going to validate in Spain. We'll go on to the next page, and we will see the costs. And then if we go into yes, the request estimate assistance, an important point. Jess showed this feature earlier. If you are interested in a comparison of a unitary patent filing versus UP validation, the estimate assistance team can provide you with a comparison of the costs and also give you the annuity costs. So these will be the official fees for the annuities, which do account for a very large portion of the cost. It won't include the service fee, but if you need to have a good comparison of the EP classic route versus the UP route, don't hesitate to use that request assistance, estimate assistance button. Let's now go ahead with our project. And this is another feature we wanted to highlight to you, was the request opt-out. So you saw earlier when we were in the estimate workflow that you could see the status of your patent. This one hadn't been opted out, but as we're using the classic EP validation route, we can request the UPC opt-out. So simply by ticking that box, Questel will take charge of the opt-out for you. So just a quick word on that. We have a tremendous experience in this field, having performed something like 75,000 opt-outs during the sunrise period, that 3-month window when granted EPs could be opted out of the system before the new UPC came into force. And we continue today to perform a lot of opt-outs for our clients, working with our technology, our expertise, and the expertise also of our Novograph, the patent attorneys who are part of the Questel group, who stand as representatives before the UPC. So all that to say is that we have a lot of services to make the unitary patent filing process as efficient for you as possible. I'd now like to move on to another relatively new feature on the QSP, which is the possibility to use the patent prosecution highway. So if we go into a PCT National, we put in the number and you can see how quickly the system populates the information that we need to process the order. We saw that earlier with the estimate feature, which is very popular. And going on to the selecting our countries here. So we're going to go into the top 5. So we would go into US, say Japan, China, Korea, and EP. Very popular jurisdictions. And simply, once we've populated all of that, we can go into the next field and see here that the PPH is available. So simply by clicking on those fields, you can automatically entrust Questel with performing the PPH for you. So just as a reminder, it's a mechanism which expedites examination. So the positive examination results in one office can be submitted to a second one and accelerate patent prosecution. So there is an extra charge for this. There will be increased official fees in some jurisdictions. And certainly if you go into the estimate function, you can see what Questel charges for this service. Last but not least, a very new addition to the platform are design filing. So by popular request, we have added this functionality. Unlike the EPs and the PCT national phase entries, our clients will have to populate we'll have to populate some fields. It doesn't all come up automatically because it's not in the public domain. So we will assume that this one is claiming priority. So Jess, if you could just go to the priority application number. So we're assuming that this is a US one. So if we put in, say, US design 29/174.210, and then the priority country, which would be the US, United States, the priority, so we have 6 months from the 13th of November to file our design. The reference number, so we would put test design. The source language is English. The priorities, we have 1, sheets of drawings 6, and 1 design. And a total of, 100 words, that. And then we select our jurisdiction. So China, say China, Japan, and Korea. Next, and there we have our quote. Now you can save that quote and then proceed with the project from there. But for the purposes of this demo, let's just go ahead and start the project. And there are some standard fields to fill in. There's case manager, so the person in charge of the case in your company. So the outside counsel, if you're using them, would be filled in here. All of this would be pre-populated when we onboard you. Your requested deadline, so that we'll either provide you with perform the filing in the required time frame, or you can request a deadline. And then we just a few more bits of information. So the inventor information. So we're going to assume it's Questel here. The applicant information. And Can add an applicant, and we have some test ones here. So all of these fields can be pre-populated for you. And then we go on to the next field. So we're showing you the whole process. We have the 3 countries we selected. Next, so here we would again pre-populate the prosecuting agents. So Questel's mission is to provide the filing. We would recommend for designs that you also use our agent network for the prosecution phase. We can alternatively transfer it to your preferred agent. And once we've filled that all in, we go on to the next page. We upload a copy of the application and of the drawings, and that's it. So it does require some information from your side, as the information is, unlike the validations or the PCT national phase entries, cannot be attained automatically. But yeah, it's an important new feature that a lot of our clients are using these days. So those were the key features that we wanted to show you currently on the QSP. Just wanted to share with you quickly as well some important developments on the roadmap. So I will go back to sharing my screen. Thanks very much for doing the demo, Jess. Yeah, the big news is that you will be able to pay your annuities on the QSP. So in addition to translations and foreign filing, validations, opt-outs, annuities are on their way. We're really excited about that. So you'll be having access to a single platform to not only handle your foreign filings and translations, but also to pay your annuities. We are a big player in the annuities business. We're in the top 3. And on this slide, just some basic information on Questel's IP renewals offer. A few things I wanted to mention. We're very tech-driven, so you can see we're already planning the connection to the QSP. Pricing, have a great and transparent pricing structure with visibility on all of your costs, whether it's the official fees, the agent fees, or our service fee. A very big IT team and processes to support us in managing some 1 million IP rights today, and importantly, people behind the screen to help you not only at the onboarding stage, but with day-to-day operations. Keeping an eye on the time. Equinox, so again, the Questel vision is really to integrate this very comprehensive range of patent services into our platform, the QSP, but also our IP management system, Equinox, which is the hub of our services and also our software. So you can see on this page how we are progressively integrating our IP services, our software, so Orbit for patent searching, Markify for trademarks, into Questel, and our hub, the IP management system. So on one hand, we have this very comprehensive range of services, and progressively they are being integrated, connected with Equinox. So that's a very exciting development, and supercharged with AI, which is also at the heart of the Questel strategy, is to leverage everything that AI can bring us in a secure and confidential way. And then the Equinox roadmap. I'm pleased to say that the annuities are already live within Equinox. In the second half of this year, we'll be seeing translations, EPE validations, and UP filings, followed by PCT national phase and direct filings, and then other services will come online as we progress with our developments. So a little beyond what exactly is going to be introduced to the QSP, but we felt it was important that we share our vision with you, and that increasingly our clients will be using our software, IP management software, to access our services. And a quick poll before we go into the Q&A.
Yes, thank you, Caroline. It's really exciting additions ahead of us. So, and we would like to know from the audience what new features would you like to see in the QSP that have not been mentioned in the last 5 minutes, but may be of interest to you? Unfortunately, this feature does not, or this poll does not have the possibility to include free text. So if you have any other suggestion about new features that is not in the list here, we can address that in the Q&A section. But other than that, please feel free to rank the 7 options that we've pre-populated for you according to the highest importance. So at the top, at number 1, should be the feature that is most important to you, and at the bottom, number 7 of lowest importance. And you can change the order of the features by clicking the arrows up and down at the right-hand side of each line, or do drag and drop by hovering over that line and then pressing the mouse and moving it around. And we have, I believe the answers are in different orders for everyone, so there's no bias. Hence, I'm not reading through all of them, but please go through them, select what you would appreciate the most, what's would help you in your day-to-day work, put them in the right order, and then press submit. I see the dashboard with case overviews in the lead. It's country-specific checklists for required documents, also popular. If last chance to submit your questions before we close the poll for everyone. Close it now. Thank you. It's good. We have the winner, the country-specific checklist.
Oh, right.
And but also dashboard and then access to invoice. Yeah, some of them have been ranked the same, but yeah, it's clear winners. It's food for thought for us.
Yes.
And
yeah. No, I think the customer, the country checklist is high up on the priority. It's already, I think, on the roadmap, on its way to being added to our list of developments. So watch this space. Well, we've come to the end of the presentation part of this user meeting. So I will ask our team to stop recording now and to open up the mics so that you can ask any questions that you would like